will talk about things that can bring us QAs to hell. So I'm really curious how big sinner I am.
Right. So welcome everyone to this talk. Originally, since I've been in IT for a longer period of time, I originally written the 10 scenes, but it's really we could talk hours on those. So I've picked 3. No? Yeah? So I will use this. But actually, we will be lucky if we talk just 2 today, but with the slight hint of the 3rd one at the very end. We'll see how it goes. Hello, I'm Luka. I'm from Ostrava, and I've been living here for my whole life, and currently I'm working at Stroje Labs. Here's my, LinkedIn, my go-to social media. We can connect there, and we will go straight to it. All right, so who of you knows this term, nightly tests? Not thoroughly, just heard it. Okay, some of you. Cool, like half. Okay, so this is how it is going to be. I'm going to show you what's the problem with the scene, with the topic, and how to improve. What I used in the past might help you as well. Let's see. So the first problem is, if you have a Slack or any other communication tool, this comes to the channel, to the alerting channel or notification channel, whatever you have it. We had test suits, and each test suit reported us every night, actually every morning, how it went. It was succeeded, and then there is a failure. All right. So what we do with that? Well, you need to understand the problem behind that, what happened before. So, if you imagine this is some kind of development pipeline, and over here there are sitting your nightly tests, because they are so long, they are sitting there because of reasons I will explain later. And here is happy team called Smog, and they are creating some new feature which is front-end heavy, and therefore it goes. They are working on this UI service. Whenever they finished with that feature yesterday, so it goes, through the pipeline, and it goes deployed to development environment where the tests are about to trigger, at night. Well, but there's more. There's Team Amagus. They are creating a new feature, and they were deploying the infrastructure change for this UI service yesterday as well, But you have more teams than 2 usually, and there is a Team Smurfs. They are happy, really, because they are working on something really different, some backend service which is unrelated with this UI service, really, and some kind of test changes of this. Imagine that, and it goes deployed there as well yesterday. Okay, so what's up with that? So the first and really simple question is, who's watching? Who's watching this channel to actually, know that something happened? Well, it could be none of them. It could be some of them. We could invent a role for it, to quote my friend. And the more important questions are these 2. Who should fix the implementation or update the tests? And who, most importantly, who caused it? They don't know. They cannot know. Unless they do a pretty much good investigation, they are really unsure. Yeah? It could be, it's not us, we spent 2 days on this feature, we tested it thoroughly, so it's got to be them. And each of those teams are saying the same thing, right? So, but there's more. The big problem with that is a feedback loop you have as a team or team member inside of those teams. As I've said, those guys were, imagine this, Team Smog, deployed their change, their feature yesterday in the morning. So it's 24 hours away, because today I woke up in the morning, read the alert, the tests are failing, and what do you know? You already are 24 hours away. And these guys were deploying it before going home, so it could be 12 hours. So 12 to 24 hours feedback loop, which really sucks. Because what they did when they deployed their feature, they were not doing nothing, right? They were picking something else. So you have already 3 features here sitting in progress because they are not in the hands of customer yet. And 3 new features picked by those guys. You know, imagine some teams are working in parallel, so they are picking more. So you have more work in progress stuff. Another thing what it creates, there is no confidence in the tests. So, like eventually people are start to talking like, hey, but it's gonna be something with those tests. I don't know these tests much, but my feature is definitely the right one. You know, it's working. It works on my machine, as they say. And the most tricky one, we have this guy or girl. I need to zoom it in every company. This is a bug fix which is really waited for by our customer. There are money at stake. For this new feature, this customer will leave us, you know. As always, this guy. And he proposed, or somebody else, you know, to please him, to skip the tests. It's a simple thing to do, actually, but it creates a precedence in our head. The tests don't matter, you know. So whenever there is a next feature in line, we will ask the same question: can we skip those, you know? And it goes on and on. All right. So what to do? Actually, more on that. Whenever I ask this question, why the hell? Maybe you ask this question as well. Why the hell are we testing here? So the answer is usually that the tests are running so long that we cannot run them with every change on every feature, on every whatever commit, you know. I oppose to that usually, and this is what we did. But first you need to accept this premise. This premise says that if you say tests are slow, you know, shrugs here and there, then optimization isn't a priority. You know, we need to loop out of this circle, and it's actually, this is a really important step. You need your tests to be blocked, to be blocking your development. This is hard truth you need to accept before you are going into improvements. And yeah, well, actually we did. We accepted that, and we created with a business valuable, because it was blocking us releasing new stuff or whatever, with the valuable feature for our development to actually make it blockable. So we were before the decision if we should run those nightly tests on development environment, as I've showed you before, or on some another environment. And we created this idea. It could be called merge request or pull request, depends on what stack on you are on, environment, which is even closer to your development, right? So we selected this one, and we actually, this is a branch pipeline, which you got on branch, and we added here one step with deployment of our application. Of course, some of the applications are so huge that it's really costly to create an excessive number of really such those environments. So we created the environment with the application, spin it up, test it, and destroy it. But hey, you, Lukas, you are lying to us. You said it's you know, taking so long. 30 minutes is not so long, right? Yeah, you need to do iterative thing, you know, as you read in the books. So we chipped out part of our test portfolio, and we call that smoke test suite, whatever that means. We selected out of, I think, 315 of them, and we started with that. It was really bad, because 30 minutes for 15 tests is really bad. But it was a thing. It was a first step. What it created, actually, in the heads of the teams or developers, it created really thinking about who is the cause of the issue. Me. It's my branch. Nobody else's. Right? So I immediately know that I've broken something. Yeah, and the most important stuff is that over time, more people are taking care of the tests. As I've said, this was the first iteration, and after a while, it was 4 minutes or whatever with hundreds of tests. It doesn't matter. You can iterate upon that, but first step is really important. So you can do the math: 12 to 24 hours versus 30 minutes feedback loop, right? Okay, next one: QA team. Yeah, I've heard a lot of talks about how great it is to be really focused with your skills. I really oppose that, and here's why. Apart from this first obvious one, is asynchronous communication. You are really communicating asynchronously. As you do with code reviews, the same thing goes here. Right, so apart from already mentioned high work in progress stuff you have in, flying around your R&D, imagine, as I showed you with the example, 3 teams. Imagine you have R&D with 10, 15, 20 teams, multiply by that. But for the simplicity, we have here our poor team Smog, and they are coding new feature. It's coded here. It's coded here. And, well, actually, if you are in that team, I was in that team. I was actually leading a couple of teams like that. Yeah, tough moments. Right, so, and somebody comes and says, this development environment, it really sucks. It's really unstable, and we cannot test anything there, We need to update or maintain the test all the time, and those development teams are filling the environment with new stuff all in all. Bright idea. We will create our own stable environment. We call it test environment or QA environment, staging environment, you name it. And we will test there. What it creates, apart from short-term benefits, is that it will prolong your feedback loop to 48 hours. Imagine that, as I said, over the night, it's here, and over the next night, if you're lucky, it's here. So 48 hours minimum, and I've experienced situations where it was 2 weeks. Once a sprint, we will put everything stable there, and we will test upon that. Yeah, well, that's not a good idea from my perspective. How to improve? Yeah, well, if you have a collective of people or teams where you have experimenting environment, I propose to actually go with that. I never was successful to telling people, this is good, bad idea, don't do that. It never works, right? So I proposed an experiment. Hey, put one tester in one team and observe some, differences. Measure stuff, data-driven decision, as they say. All right, so what I propose is to actually measure if the business understanding of this one hero, which is really hard and tough to find, this guy or girl, who will be a superhero and go there and try it out for a couple of months or sprints, if the business understanding is higher or lower for the tester or for the whole team. If the tests which are created afterwards are more or less flaky, if we are creating different types of tests, maybe end-to-end tests are not, flying there. It's not good, maybe. I don't know. I can try, more integration tests, more unit tests. Oh, well, we'll see. Feedback loop, I was talking about that. How long is that? We need to measure that. We need to prove, on data. And the most important stuff is the tester growing more, because this is for him. This measure is for him or her. This is really important to have the intrinsic motivation for the other testers from the team later on, maybe. All right. So next problem is they are creating their own tooling. Why is that a problem? Everybody has. In our team we use different tooling. In their team, well, actually. It's creating a low transparency amongst the teams in R&D or engineering or unit company, because whenever there is a failure, and there's going to be some kind of failure or update needed, they are only the ones who can fix it. You are actually, and is that what we want eventually? But what I say, you are effectively creating a vendor lock inside of your own company, which is funny when you think about it. Right. Another thing with the own tooling is a technological barrier. Others, from other teams, if you have QA team, development teams are actually not motivated to help you with that because they are creating something in their TypeScript, lovely, right? And you are using some robot framework written in Python. Really? You know, I'm not going to help you. And you're not going to help me because you're not proficient in that technology. So you're creating technological barrier. And most important, if you want to grow, you are actually reducing the pool of people from you can learn from to actually your team only. Yeah, you have R&D of 100, 200 people, and how many are here? 5, 10? You do the math, right? Okay, so what to do with that? How to improve? I recommend to actually use the tooling which is meant for that, you know, which is used by your application, by your product. So instead of, I don't know, I've seen people were using Postman for automation. Don't use that if the application is written or service is written in C#. You know, there are tools for that. It's called NUnit or something like that. There are other tools for Java, JUnit, and for TypeScript. If you have distributed monolith, let's say, don't use Cypress, right? And you can use Jest for lower level tests. It's completely okay. Or, you know, if you're using Selenium, I don't know why, for God reason, in Java for this, then, you know, migrate to something else or actually start with something else. And it, you know, breaks the barriers, as I was talking about. Missing accountability, yeah, there's a long moment. How much do I have?
6 minutes.
All right. There's a long moment of distrust whenever some test fails. As I've showed you with the nightly tests, if you have a QA team, they are responsible for those tests, right? So you need to go somewhere to some team and actually check if they broke your tests, or actually if you need to update them or something like that. So there's this long moment. No, it's not me. It's not my design originally. It's your tests. Definitely, it's wrong, because I don't know your tests. So obviously, it's going to be some kind of distrust between us. And the same goes to the implementation teams. And yeah, well, that's it. That's that. Again, creating, you know, pinging here and there, and creating long feedback loop, and losing confidence in your tests. Again, I propose to have a good environment for that, to actually talk with your, I don't know, superiors, managers, whoever, who can create the environment of agreement, because I think if we cannot trust each other, we cannot make great products with each other. So, and we've called it, you know, I broke it, I'll fix it. Simple as that. If I don't know how to fix it, I can reach out and learn the stuff. You know, if somebody will fix it for you, that's not going to work. So, all in all, yeah, and you stop hearing this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was written a long time ago by someone who is not even in the company anymore. You know, I don't know if I really caused it. You know, these type of excuses in my head, excuses are not heard of anymore after some kind of agreement such as this. Right. Well, and the biggest, like, psychological problem I have with the QA team actually is they are sharing the best practices how to test the product. Their primary goal, if you think about it, is to make the tests green, right? But that's not the point of the testing, right? To make the test green. All right, so this is some kind of sum up. I have third one, but we're not going to make it. This is column in Jira, testing column. You know it. You know, more on that later on, maybe. Yeah, I'm really thrilled if you can give me some feedback. I'm really living on that. So please do if you like it or dislike it. It's even better. And I wish you dobrou chuť.
Thank you. And we have 5 minutes for questions. Or 4 minutes for questions.
4 minutes. Are there any questions on?
No questions.
Mhm.
The question is why the tests are running so slow. Because, well, they were written one by one. Nobody is optimizing on one test, right? So eventually, I've seen, I don't know, 24,000 test suite of end-to-end tests running for 11 hours. Yeah, you can start optimizing somewhere. You can, shift left, as they say, make more calls on API level, on more backend, instead of calling, UI. These types of UI checks, if radio button is there or here, this is unit test, This is something which doesn't go to end-to-end testing at all.
Sharding on machines.
Yeah, you can parallelize only so much. Yeah, we got the original nightly test suite of it was running for 8 hours, but we were parallelizing, so we already extinguished all the parallelizing options for us. So we need to bring something else.
I understand. I used to work in a company where merge request took 26 hours, and it usually fails.
Yeah. Good for you, because you can learn a lot.
Like to quit.
Out of the recording.
Usually there are tests that are covering more functionality that are cross teams. Who is maintaining this?
In my experience, the best option you have is everybody. I know that guy, it's really a meme, but but it actually works. If you prevail, and I'll fix it, because not every time you understand the test, what the test is about, what it should do, but you can learn the stuff over the time. So if you are the one who broke it and you know about it, then you should somehow fix it or get someone to help you with that. The only workable option, because otherwise you have this, if I have a problem, I will create a role for it or team for it, and that's the QA team, right?
Can you list some ways how you speed it up the tests? Are there necessarily technical ways, if there are?
Yeah, technical ones. You need to collaborate with your developers so they can help you, because they are more skilled in technical stuff. So they can help you if you are speaking the same language, I mean technical language. And for instance, we brought a lot of tests, like there were some checks, and we did those checks on UI. But we eventually learned that this check could happen just on one test, and the rest of them, like 100 of them, could be checked through backend, for instance. And this speeded up like 3-4 hours, yeah, for instance. Yeah. The second thing was that you actually start to reducing your test portfolio. Third thing is to start reducing it by rewriting those tests on lower level. No problem. Okay.
I perhaps have one point to adding a tester to your team. We actually did that in Safety Guy years ago. We are also moving towards having a quality owner on the whole feature. So we have a product owner who knows what the customer wants. We have a developer owner who knows how to implement it and how it integrates with the product. And then we have the quality owner who is there from the beginning, from the breakdown, who is then aware of how it will be tested, how it relates to the test suite, to end-to-end tests, what can possibly go wrong, and we actually coordinate on this bigger picture level the effort in advance.
How does that work?
I think it works pretty well for us.
Do you have numbers, like, I don't know, less bugs or something like that? Less flaky tests?
We don't have metrics
to
actually come up with numbers.
Okay. Well, I'm not big a fan of that. If I'm personally, if I'm the team who is working on that feature, I should be responsible, like all of us. We can deal with that. Who will be the one? It's never one role. If you have a problem, create a role for it. Again, you know, eventually you will have 1,000 problems, 1,000 roles. It's not going to scale.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I put it correctly. Like the QA owner is still the person in the team, and we have this philosophy that developer who develop the particular feature, it's their responsibility to test after themselves, but also the tester is here to check their work. So the tester should also be aware of the whole scale of the feature. Right?
True.
That's the reason for the quality owner.
True. Okay. In that case, fine for you. Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Luka. And now we have, I think, 1 hour and a half for lunch.